to work when I was that age. So I was
Fair
like,
enough.
somebody come back to me, please.
Please don't send me a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. No, I got very
You gotta
lucky in that
have
case.
And do you have a good relationship with your mom now?
Oh, much better. Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because once you get to the age, like there's certain points in your life that we judge our parents. And then once we get to that point in our lives, it gives us a whole new perspective on why they made the decisions they did. So yeah, that new perspective has helped to shift a lot of resentment and other stuff from the past.
Fair enough. Isn't perspective, though, that magical ingredient? It's like when we
Mhm.
don't know what we don't know, there's all this fire that wants us to be right, and it goes our
Mhm.
way, and then all of a sudden the perspective shifts, and we're like, oh wow, I'm so humble. Oh man, that
The
just
universe
happened.
loves to humble me. I've had many, many occasions.
I hear
Good morning, Chantal. Nice to see you, honey.
that.
Hi, Bradley. Hi,
Your
Ariel. Hi,
beautiful day.
Christine. So
Your
great to see you
beautiful
guys. Hi, Lori. Good morning. Hi,
day.
Sarah. Hi, Gail. Hi, Erin. What a lovely morning it is.
Oh, isn't it? It's so beautiful. Good morning, everyone. We, where I live, we still have a couple feet of snow, but the sun is back. And so I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful. This is my favorite month of the year for a lot of reasons, but the hope of spring is just so much magic.
Yeah, same here. April is my favorite because that's when my lilacs start coming out. April, May. Yes. I love it. I love all the flowers. I'm gonna go flower crazy this year. I'm actually trying to set a goal where I don't have to mow my lawn if I just put if I put, wildflowers everywhere. I'm hoping nobody's
Yeah.
gonna judge me for having one of those wild lawns.
Yeah. And if they do, oh well.
Because I honestly, I don't, it's not even about, I love to go outside and do the work in the garden, but the chopping down everything and having to, the way that we do modern landscaping bothers me a bit.
Fair.
I just
Fair
want to throw
enough.
seeds everywhere. Just let all the seeds, just let it do its thing.
Yeah. Well, and we're killing the ecosystem of whoever needed that free for all, you know, shrubbery, whatever, everything. Yeah.
Well, I've
Today,
noticed,
my
people have commented, they're like, you have more fireflies than anywhere else. And I was like, well, I don't destroy my lawn. I don't pulverize all my leaves where they live. Meanwhile, every one of my neighbors around me is one of those people that if there's even a single leaf on the lawn, they have to go and collect it and take it. You know what I mean? So that's why I say when people look at me like I'm nuts, because they have all these perfectly manicured lawns around me. And then there's the wild crazy lady with, it's got all the, oh man, I've got everything. I've got bird feeders everywhere. It's like a little fairy heaven I'm hoping for anyway.
well, and that's the magic, right? My
Mhm.
girlfriend who lives down the street, they went to Florida for the winter, for just a couple months, and she left a gigantic bag of peanuts in my mailbox. And she's like, "Will you please distribute these?" And I'm like, "Distribute them to who? We have 2.5 feet of snow." And so I have an upper balcony and a gigantic window off of my bedroom. And so I just threw a couple handfuls of the peanuts out there. And I'm sitting in my room one day and I hear this screech, which is a beautiful screech. I'm thinking, oh, it's a bird of prey. And I get up and I grab my binoculars, and it's a blue jay. And he didn't scream, and like 30 seconds later, five of them. And I'm like, I did not know that, like, they're a little vicious in my area anyway. So I didn't know
Mhm.
that they were a community bird at all. And the next day he came back around the same time. I hadn't thrown the peanuts out. It was one day, and he stood on my balcony railing and was screaming. And so I did what I was told. I threw a handful out. Five of them came. The third day, they came back. It's like, oh
Oh,
no,
great.
there's a now I have to go and buy peanuts and be in service to the blue jay. So we'll see what happens. But it was exciting for
Mine
me.
was a bluebird. I have a bluebird that I don't know every spring if he's like showing off or trying to fight his reflection. I think he is. He's trying to fight his reflection in my window. But every morning in the spring, he's always in the window jumping around like this in the window.
I think that's
So
awesome.
he's got quite an elaborate amount of food out there for him now at this point because I'm like spoiling them all. And I throw out the to feed the crows as well and all of that as well, the peanuts and the squirrels and all that. It feels good to take care of Mother Nature. I feel like it's like racking up good karma to go and take care of the animals.
Oh, Christine says she feeds foxes. Christine, what do you feed foxes?
Oh,
I would love that. My spirit animal is the spirit fox. There would be nothing better than for me to see a fox on or near my property. That would be so, well, it's his property. I live here, but I would love to see it. I would love to see that. So good.
It's really wonderful when you feel like you're actually making a difference, not just in people's lives, but in the lives of everyday animals that exist around us. It's like giving them a little bit of a assistance, considering they've lost so much with our encroachment anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Raw
I
chicken. Okay, I bet the foxes love raw chicken. My mom's my mom's chickens, they can vouch for that. Yes, foxes love raw chicken. Yeah.
Daniel has an owl that hangs out in the summer. That would also be a dream come true for me. Oh, so
Love
good.
that.
I love these nature stories. It's
I
such an
know.
opening into this time of year. It's like, I don't know, spring is just, it's a fresh start. You just get to start all over again.
I did a clearing on someone last night and they had a hummingbird spirit guide with them, kind of fluttering around them. I know, right? And the guide's advice was like, go put out hummingbird feeders for your, to feed them for this year when they come back.
Do you have hummingbirds?
We do, yeah. I have a feeder that I change every other day.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah.
I think we have 5 feeders, and then we have a suction cup one that's on our window, and so we can literally sit and they're at the window. It's such incredible people. Yeah.
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 Oh,
So
you have
good.
a hawk pair. Nice, Christine.
Yeah.
See, it's good to give back. I feel like it's gonna not just for our benefit, obviously, but I feel like the animals around you, they can imbue you with good energy for just doing nice things for them. And the Fae as well. The Fae are also very happy when you help take care of animals.
Yep. And trees. Anything
Mhm.
anything in the network for sure. Yeah, for sure. Well, I love how this started because it feels like spring is opening and activating. So thanks everybody for sharing your live animal stories. That was really cool. I love that.
Another
Oh,
important thing of spring is about spring cleaning as well. Cleaning out the old, decluttering. Spring cleaning is also a very important thing.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There's so much
Transformation.
energy. Sorry, we're lagging here. I didn't mean
Yeah,
to.
I noticed. It's okay.
Let's try that again.
Yeah, the whole transformation thing. You're also doing something this evening, aren't you? For your Activate Your
Yep,
Power free masterclass.
I am. So every month on the first Tuesday, I do a free masterclass. It's called Activate Your Power. And actually, this month is probably a great time to do that because it is literally spring cleaning for your whole body. So I teach about the 3 sacred centers, the pineal, which is our God brain. It's the filtration system that ego uses to share appropriate information instead of everything with soul. Our heart center, which is soul's energy, our biome, which is our body's brain. And so I teach a little bit about what each of those are and how to build a bridge from heart to pineal, pineal to heart, activating our upper energy. So this is going to be crown, third eye, and throat. We build a bridge from heart to biome back to heart, activating our lower energies, solar, sacral, and root. And then I teach you how to seal. First, we'll clear the blocks to self-love, but to seal the leaks that have been stealing your energy. And as we move through this process, I talk to you about a 90-second technique that is our spiritual shower. And, you know, I'll be a broken record on this subject forever. We have to have a daily, consistent spiritual shower practice. And what I love about this technique is once you learn it, it's 90 seconds and it activates those 3 sacred centers. It cleanses and purifies the 7 main chakras, and it seals the leaks to your biofields, which are your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And so with March being the coming of spring, this 21-day quest that I'll offer is the opportunity to write a line to that higher frequency and vibration, which I'm saying this out loud and without judgment, but holy cow, that collective energy is heavy right now. It's so heavy. And we can do our part by becoming lighter and lighter and lighter.
Yes. I think that many of us are almost having lifetime. It's like we become unrecognizable from like a year or two ago. The fact that things are transforming so quickly. You know, there's things that are happening that I wouldn't even have believed 6 months ago if you had told me that this is what's happening now.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And we're taking a lot of it personally. And I don't mean that we shouldn't have a personal stand in it, but we can't be carrying that weight of the world on our shoulders. It's not a singular individual's burden. And so, again, coming back to that activating your power, when we can go within and find our strength and our courage and our peace, then we're able to manage the outside world from a different perspective. And I don't know if we were live when we started about talking about perspective this morning, but the ability to see things as the witness, not as the one who is responsible for fixing everything, for pleasing everybody else. This is the power that we need to stand in.
I got a white knight complex where I see a problem and I'm like, oh, backup's here. Da, da, da. Like I do. I try to go rushing in to help. And I've noticed that things can repeat themselves when I do that. It's like, what was the point when I came in to try and save the day, only for the same thing to happen again? And I'm like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have gotten involved, should I? That was supposed to play out a different way. They were supposed to learn something from that. Oops.
Yeah. And that's something maybe that if we could look at it from that perspective, by solving someone else's issue, we've stolen from them the opportunity to learn, to shift, to heal, and to grow. And we didn't do any of those things either because we went off of our own right path to save the day. I hear you, sister. I've been there.
It's like things can escalate, you know? It's like you try and spare somebody from something that's very unfortunate because it's out of love. We're like, well, you know, I don't want them to suffer. I don't want them to be unhappy. But then you end up realizing that that unhappiness is part of the growing pains that we all have to go through.
It's the catalyst, right? How many of you guys can find that one thing that was at the moment the worst possible thing that could have ever happened to you, and it literally was the trampoline that leveled you up so high that your life would never have been able to get to this place without that experience?
I've got a couple of those. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
it's like what do you call it? It's like changing a chapter, you know, where your entire life can change just at a blink of an eye. That's what I consider it to be. It's like the start of a new chapter. And sometimes those catalysts, like I had an ex that tried to kill me once. He hid in my basement for 4 days. And I know it was absolutely terrifying. I was only in my very early 20s. And so I packed everything I owned into a car and I moved. And I moved 4 states away because it seemed like
Right.
that was the only option for me at that time. And that was the only reason I left my hometown.
And then
And
what does that start?
about 15 years of backpacking. I've been to 60 countries,
Right.
60 plus. So yeah, that
And
was a huge catalyst. Even though it was a negative thing that obviously like terrorized me, it became a very important focal point in my life.
sometimes I like to address that as the velvet hammer didn't work. The universe was like, hey, Laura, put your backpack on, explore. You're not rooted in this place with this person at this time. And you didn't
Nope.
listen. And
Nope.
so, I also believe that we choose intimate others for reasons that we have no, excuse me, thank you. We have no way of comprehending what their story and our story mean, and that they're not always a forever thing. That reason, season, lifetime is such a magical piece of human being.
And this is also true for relationships as well, because I found like when you're codependent and you stay in a relationship longer than you're, supposedly meant to, you can deny yourself future happiness because you're not leaving that space that was no longer benefiting you. You're not leaving yourself open to new opportunities to come in.
Yeah. And I think the challenge is because it's a state of unconscious incompetence, we don't know what we don't know. So we don't know that a door has opened for everything we've ever desired, but we didn't even see that doorway there because we're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm. So how do you find the doorway, so to speak? If you're in a place where you feel like you're completely stuck, then you need to make that transformation in some degree. Where do you begin?
I'm going to say that we always begin within. If you don't know who you are or what you want, then there isn't going to be any coincidences or luminosities or little breadcrumbs to follow. And I think for, maybe 15, 20 years ago, there was a big disservice when, we got the lessons of don't talk about the negative. It is so important, like capital, bolded, underlined, so important that you know what you do not want. Usually we know what we don't want because we've had experiences, and those experiences said, yeah, that doesn't work for me. Let's imagine that every person, place, scene, situation, or scenario is just part of your inventory. Is that in alignment? No, thank you. Oh, yes, I'll put that in my backpack. I'll put that. Every experience, every person isn't meant to go in your spiritual backpack. And you're not meant to carry all of those all of the time. And so imagine that the opportunity in the moment is simply the lesson. Is that what I want more of in my life? Yes or no? In the work that I do, I teach something called the precept. And so each of the 12 months of the year is a cosmic cycle. Right now, we're in the cosmic cycle called mental. So March is all about our mental competence, the way that we think and thoughts that serve our highest good. And so everything that happens this month is going to be all about Mother Earth's energy, so the material, physical realm, and divine intelligence energy, the etherical, the guided messages, the divine intelligence coming to you to say, are your thoughts well? Are your thoughts right? Are your thoughts good for you? And let's go back to that third one. Good for you at this moment is all that matters. And so maybe we could do an example of last month, because everybody can go back into last month as opposed to creating this month. Last month was the cosmic cycle of emotional competence. And so everything that happened around you, for you, with you, unfortunately, if you're going to say to you, happens for a reason, to thank you, to learn a very specific lesson around your emotion. So do you allow the emotion to come in and it becomes a map that unfolds, or do you let it wash over you like Niagara Falls and you start to drown? Or do you compartmentalize those emotions as thoughts so you can control things? Or do you shut the emotion right off and you have no map whatsoever? And so anything that happens physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually is asking you, do you want more of this in your life? Yes, then align to it emotionally. No, then cut the cord of emotional incompetence in that area with those people, with those things. And every single month has these types of messages that guide us to, who do you really want to be? And so go back to your question. Where is that answer coming from? Within. But we've got to pause long enough to hear it, and we have to know how we're going to inventory it. Is this in alignment with who I want to be?
Chantal noticed that you say thank you when you cough, Traci. Please elaborate.
Chantal, thank you for asking that. In metaphysics, there is a belief that in every given moment, there's an opportunity to energetically release a potential block to self-love. Those blocks happen in the chakras. Each chakra has a message that is telling you that this energy isn't in alignment with you. And if you hold on to it, it's going to become an annoyance, a pain, a dysfunction, or it's going to manifest as a disease. And so burping, farting, sneezing, laughing, coughing, crying, yawning is the opportunity to clear a block to self-love. But we've been trained to be embarrassed by those bodily functions that are literally taking energy that doesn't serve us, getting rid of it right away with no consequence at all. And so I say thank you instead of excuse me, because I'm not apologizing for my body function. I'm grateful for a potential block to my self-love being released. So thank you for asking that. Yeah. Yeah.
So everything has a potential to be transformed, as you say,
If I can do a tiny lesson on taking that an extra step farther, I would love the opportunity to do that.
Yes.
Everything
absolutely.
that happens on this planet is energy based. Energy has to be formed into matter, but there's a process of that happening. And so intuitively, we either know something is in alignment for us, we either know it's not in alignment for us, or we're in unconscious incompetence. We have no idea that we're getting an intuitive message. So in that moment, I got an intuitive message to say something. I chose not to say it. I was saying something else, and my throat went, I intuitively told you to say something different.
Yeah.
I'll do that now. And so everything starts intuitively, whether we recognize it or not. It's a guidance from the universe that says stay in alignment with your truth. When you go off your truth, something, a person, place, thing, scene, situation, scenario, burp, fart, sneeze, laugh, cough, cry, yawn, will come to you and say, wrong direction. If you don't listen to that intuitive knowing, you'll get a thought. That thought will not be empowering. It will be disempowering. It will be a story or an illusion that controls or compels you. If you recognize it in the moment, you can release it and the intuition continues to guide you. But if you don't catch that negative thought, it drops into an emotion. And that emotion teaches you how you are out of alignment, what you feel has a physical sensation that locks into your physical body. This is why listening to your body is so important, but also understanding the most basic of each of the 7 chakras, because they're not spiraling balls of energy that have no purpose. They're sacred guides that travel with every incarnation of our soul, translating our first language, which is energy. And so in that moment that my throat blocked up, I had just before my throat blocked up, I had just got the thought, oh, don't share that. And I kept talking and I went, yeah. And then it manifests physically. And if in that moment I could still clear my throat, but I don't get back into alignment with my truth, then it's going to manifest as something. And so throat chakra, we've been taught, means speak your truth. Energy needs no volume whatsoever. It's not about speaking our truth. It's about our thoughts and our words aligning completely with our actions and our inaction. And so then we're able to use our voice to communicate in a way that's powerful and empowering.
Oh, it's funny you say this because my throat chakra, like I literally feel like the tickle as you're talking about this. And I'm like, like trying to keep it under control. It's like it hears you. It's going off right now.
So this is really cool, and you guys might love this. So those of you who are members in Astara, this session is free for you guys on the second Thursday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But it's $18 for anyone else who wants to join. I do it 4 times a week in my own community. It's $38 for the month, and we do at least 16 live sessions every month. But anyway, it's called Metaphysical Messages. So I'm going to use you as my guinea pig, Laura, and we're going to find out what that means. But everyone else can follow along. And if you want to message me or drop into the chat, I'll translate for you. So Metaphysical Messages is a session where I teach you a 3-part process where we drop into the body in 3 deep layers. So the first space that we drop into is the surface. It's the reasonable ego story that has a block in your energy or a leak in your biofield. But the second place that we drop into is the story. And it's the story that's important because when we're not aware that that's the story, we just keep repeating it in different iterations. So you can heal this, but the story doesn't change. And so you'll just find another way to get to the story. So anytime you've said, you know what, I've done so much, I've done sound healing, I've done hypnosis, I've done A, B, C, D. Why isn't this working? Because you keep clearing the surface of it, but you don't get to the story. We do want to know the story because it's the pain and suffering that we're actually experiencing. But there's something underneath that.
Yeah.
And it's the root. It could be a generational root, or it can be the root of that story. And here's the coolest thing about energy medicine, about metaphysics in general. It's not a lot of work to heal yourself. It's a lot of work to get to what has to heal. But once we get there and we acknowledge that and we're aware when it comes from the outside and we say, no, thank you. No thanks. Then we've actually healed it. It's that simple. Would you like to drop into what that means?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. So if you are not driving and you're safe, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and make sure your ankles and knees aren't locked over one another. We want a free flow of spirit coming through your crown all the way to your root. I am asking you to close your eyes because this is a very internal experience. We're not going to do the whole metaphysical messages process. That's 90 minutes, but we'll do this really quick draw. So Laura, what I'm going to ask you to do in a moment is to take a deep breath and create an energy around you. And then you're going to ask your breath, which is your soul, and your ego, which is your imagination, to come together. And you're going to ask them to drop anywhere in your body. And you're just going to be aware of that first location.
Okay.
We're going to do that 3 times. You're going to remember the location and the sensation. Are you ready? Your eyes are closed. Your metaphysical roots are strong. They're thick and deep. Your body is safe on your timeline. Your heart is open, which activates soul, your breath. And you are connected directly to source. With your breath and your imagination above your head, you're giving yourself permission to find a rooted energy that is not serving you. On an exhalation, use your breath and imagination to sense anything in your body, itchy, scratchy, throbby, burny, tingly, numb. Listen to your body. Don't run after it. Don't force it. When you find that first sensation, pay attention to its exact location and the sensation itself. You're just breathing in and out of that spot for a moment, giving thanks for the message, known or unknown. Taking a very deep inhalation, holding it at the top for just a moment, and as you exhale, you're going to drop into a second place that your breath and imagination go to. Beautiful. Just breathing in and out of that space, giving thanks for the known and the unknown. When you're ready, you'll take a deep inhalation, holding your breath at the top. And as you exhale, drop into that third space. Breath followed by imagination, allowing your body to communicate. Beautiful. Very gently, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes and share with me the location and the sensation of each of those drop-ins. Where was the first location?
I honestly felt like it was the back here. It was really
Okay,
weird.
so
I was surprised at that. So, yeah.
Cervical spine, more the right or the left?
Yeah, no, right in the middle. Cervical spine, yeah. Right in the middle of my spine, upper part of my spine.
Okay, perfect. And the second location?
My gut, my stomach. I felt it through my sacral. I believe the sacral area.
Okay, so right, left, center.
Center, I believe.
Beautiful. And the third location?
My left foot that is still bothering me. I felt it go straight there. Yeah.
Okay. Where in particular on the foot?
The heel.
Okay. So let's translate this. And I'm going to translate it in general, but if I have your permission to come into your biofield, I can give you specific information, but we don't have to do that on air. We can do that off air later if you want.
I'm no shame. That's I don't mind at all.
So I'm going to explain Laura's star. I'm going to explain Laura's star. I'm going to explain Laura's story from the way that we gathered the information, but I'm going to speak it from the root of its trauma. So the cervical spine, the center of our neck, this is throat chakra. It's about aligning our words and our actions. In particular, when I touched down on that, it was the third cervical spine. So the third cervical, the space between third and fourth, this is about joy. And so the root of the trauma is that the joy that you're speaking of isn't being experienced. That drops down into sacral. Sacral on the right side is about blame. It has to be somebody's fault. The left side is about guilt. It's my fault. But the very center is about your life force energy being diminished through that guilt and the blame. And when we drop into the third spot, left side is always about self. Your heel is the way that you dig in when you don't feel safe, secure, and supported. And so let's go to the very root of the trauma. You are not feeling safe, secure, and supported, and you've dug into something or to someone that isn't in alignment with your truth. It's creating guilt and blame. It's creating this story that it can't just be. Either you have to do everything and they do nothing, or you're tired of what they're putting out because you have to take responsibility for that. And that comes back to the very end. It's stealing your joy. You're talking about how you want a creation of joy, but this thing that you've dug your heel into, this person, place, or thing that you've dug your heels into, is the root of the trauma right now. Does this make
I
sense?
know exactly what it is. It's funny how whatever's going on up here manifests down here.
It really does. It really does. And since we are in March, the cosmic cycle of mental capacity, I want you to imagine that whatever you're thinking, and this is important for everyone, whatever you're thinking is amplified this month. And so if there is a person, place, or thing that you need to exit from, do so with kindness, but that's where the block to your joy is right now.
I think it's not really about, I've already done it. It's just releasing myself from the hurt from it.
Yeah, that's fair. And I want you guys to imagine that hurt is something that is in the past. And I want you guys to hear this because it's super important. We act like we live linearly, and that if it's already happened, it's gone. And we say things like, oh, I'm going to put that behind me, or I'm going to let that go, or I'm going to release that. We don't live linearly. We live cyclically. And so when you're ready to let go of hurt, when you're ready to put something behind you, I would love for you to imagine that instead of that, you literally imagine that it's in the palms of your hands and you're transporting it up into the astral plane and you're releasing it at its point of origin. And then it doesn't have to repeat on you, because you've changed that low frequency and vibration of hurt back into its rightful energy, which in your particular case is joy. And so there's your scale: joy or hurt. You choose.
Tough choice there.
Yeah, for sure.
Funny how much we dwell on that choice, even though obviously it should be an easy one. You know, we still sit there and put ourselves on the precipice of choice because we feel like we're getting off of the fence is difficult in many cases.
Yeah, and we sit on that fence because we don't know what we really want. We don't know who we are. And let's pretend, I'm making this part up, but let's pretend it's a person. We don't know who we are without them. We don't know what we want without them. And so that's why we hold on. It's not because it's in our highest good. It's not because we don't even know that it's causing us hurt. It's because we don't know who we are without them. And we have to sit in that. So go back to your original question. How do we do that? We have to get within ourselves and disentangle who we are for them and who we want to be for us. I'm going to just, I don't know how to do it, so maybe I'm not going to do it. I want to share the link to the Metaphysical Messages session, but I have no idea how to do that.
If you drop it into private chat, I can share it across all the pages. The private chat on the side there.
Oh, private chat. Look at me.
Yep. See right there.
Yeah. And so in this class, I teach you what each of those 3 places are. We do a group session just like we did, and then I translate for a few people as well. So it's good. So good. Do you want me to grab somebody from the audience and translate for them?
Sure,
or do you
please
want
do. I'm sure those definitely be a volunteer.
Yeah.
First person to offer can be our.
I think we've got a lot of stuff here. Brandy Danielle. So chest, stomach, heart. Those are very general, right, left, front, back matter. So I'll go through them. The surface at chest, this is heart chakra. It's all about sadness, grief, and a perceived sense of loss of self, taking you away from the ability to give love, the light that you truly are. Depending on whether it's more to the right or more to the left is going to be who's creating that perceived sense of loss of self. Is it you, or are you letting your influential others? When that drops down into your stomach, it's the same story, guilt and blame. If it's on the right side, it's blame. This perceived sense of loss of self has to be somebody else's fault, or guilt. It's all your fault. The key is it at the right or the left? Because whatever that is, it's stealing your creativity and passion. That's the energy that I'm getting. And when we go, so I'm not sure what the difference between chest and heart would be. When we go back to heart, let's go into that. Yeah, okay. So I want you to imagine that our heart center is our soul's energy. This is where everything from divine intelligence is channeled through the pineal. It's filtered. It drops into the heart to feed us information that the soul needs. Imagine if you were an employee and every day you went to work and you got a document that said, this is what you need to do today. And then all of a sudden you stop getting that document. You don't know what to do. And so if we move through this from the rooted trauma for you at this moment, Brandy, is that soul is not receiving the direction from cosmic intelligence that allows you to step into your truth, your light, the amazing brilliance of love that you have the capacity for. But this is because you're stuck in a state of guilt or blame. Your creativity, your passion, it's literally being stolen by your own thoughts and words or by someone else's. And that brings us back into what the story is. There is a sadness, a grief, and a perceived sense of loss of self that's controlling and compelling you. Yeah. I hope that helps. If anybody wants this information, you can reach out to me at Traci, Traci, at tracitrimble.ca, or even better, why don't you come to my metaphysical messages class? If you are an Astara member, you guys get to come free on the second Thursday of every month. If you are a member of my community, the Healing Sanctuary, we do this every single week for 90 minutes. And if you would like to purchase a session, it's $18, and you can choose the second or the fourth Thursday of every month to get this information.
Wonderful. I'm also going to share your Awaken Your Power free masterclass here.
Thank you. That masterclass is tonight at 7 p.m. And I will actually teach you the technique to heal the 3 blocks that you just went through.
That's right in the comments, everybody. If you're interested in joining, there's the link in the comments below. I think that honestly, with the energies that are coming through and the transformations that are occurring right now, being able to take control over what those transformations are going to be is one of the most powerful things you can do, rather than just letting the universe, decide for you.
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys. The universe isn't interested at all in deciding for you. The universe's purpose is to deliver the message so that you have the intellectual, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual wherewithal to follow through on what you already said you would do. And let me explain that briefly. You are a spark of God itself. You are a divine spirit energy. And you chose this timeline. You chose to come to human being because you didn't want to know everything. You were sick and tired of being all knowing. And you wanted to have your own thoughts, your own experiences, your own feelings. And so you come to this space and time with a map. There's a divine assignment in your cellular memory. I call this your right path. And everything on this planet, person, place, thing, scene, situation, scenario, is doing its best to keep you aligned to that path. And so if you don't resist what's presented to you, and you give yourself permission to receive divine intelligence, you're going to stay on that right path. And on that right path, although it's not going to be, sunshine and roses, unicorns and fairies all the time, we have to go into Poopyville to grab the nuggets of information. We just don't have to stay there. And that's the key. So in my opinion, we need to know how to listen to the messages that are being stored in our body, and we have to know how to clear those from our body once we've received them. And we need to be able to know who we are and what we want.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Dr. Traci. What an empowering conversation today.
It's Tuesday.
We've got a lot of work ahead of ourselves, but I also feel like we're in a better position than we've ever been before as a race, as a couple. You know what I mean? As the human race in general, we're so young. We have so much to learn and so much to experience. And I feel that this is a big part of that, just coming back to ourselves and reawakening. And what an exciting time to be alive.
For sure. I can't remember if we were on air yet when we were talking about having, Laura and I were talking about how we're grateful that we have boys, because we just wouldn't have wanted our own self. We wouldn't have wanted our own self.
Me in my teens would have been terrifying. No, thank you.
Right. But let's imagine that that's the human race right now. We were horrible little teenagers, and now as we're gently moving into adulthood, we're like, oh wow, a different perspective. And so we need to get out of that spoiled, rotten, behavior driven, everything is about me energy that we've had for the last 6,000 years, and to step into giving ourselves permission to have a perspective that is intelligent, mentally intelligent, but also emotionally intelligent.
Wow, wonderful. I'm going to share the link one more time for everybody. Make sure that you join. It's all about self-empowerment. I really feel that we are empowering at a rate that we've never seen before. So the more you utilize these tools becoming available, the faster things will evolve and heal and move into a space that we can all be expressing that joy you were talking about.
Yeah. And ideally, isn't that at the end of the day what we're all searching for? I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what Daniel Jackson just said. Something has shifted to the light this week. We can all feel that.
Yeah. And I love even just like just hearing that something. We don't need to know what it is. We just have to be like, oh yes, I connect to that. Something has shifted, which means we're elevating our conscious awareness. And we're doing that towards the light. And let's imagine, and I want to say this in all, like, take this as an important message. There's nothing wrong with shadow. That's where the lesson's going to be. There's a big difference between shadow and darkness. Yes. Big difference between shadow and darkness. We cannot be afraid of either, but we also cannot negate the shadow because of fear of the darkness. And so as we step into the shadow, that actually amplifies the light. And darkness has no hope.
Darkness is like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to mute you. For a second, then she just disappeared. Are you there? See, darkness always has an opinion as well. As you can see. It's like, oh yeah? Yeah. Well, glitches in the Matrix? Are we back? There we go. Darkness had a thing to say there too.
Lady.
That was amazing timing.
Yeah.
I love it.
I saw Judy asked if there are replays. Yes, everything that I have is a replay, and if you that's a good question, Judy. So anyone who shows up live gets the replay because it can be very personal. But if you remind me with an email that you aren't going to be able to make it, I will make sure that you get a replay. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it's wonderful to see you, Dr. Thank you very much for joining us at least once a month for these conversations. It's always so great to see you.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to be with you guys. So thank you so much.
And thank you to everybody who joined us today. It was so wonderful to see you all. And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Lots of love.
Good night. See you.
Bye.
Bye.